play ball, brother.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Hey, I'm still waiting on my Instagram follow from the page.
Yeah, I gotta follow everyone.
Yeah, fuck. I mean,
I just went through, and I was like, all right, let's get the following first and go back and follow everyone.
Cool,
I'm on that wave.
Cool. Thanks for having me. Let's do this.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of Survive Your Mind with Tom Wall. Tom Wall is a family friend of ours. Grew up, went to high school together. Throughout his media career at King Philip filming, a very big ideas guy, has done a lot of great work and is now part of the platform, which has helped me tremendously make my dream a reality. Still filming, doing stand-up, my brother very well. We worked together at the Eagle Brook, so Tom and I go back a very long time.
We got roots. This is my brother right here. It's my brother.
Very excited to have Tom on.
Let's do this, man. I'm super excited. Once again, Paul gave the idea to me about doing this podcast, and I was, dude, you got to do it. Mental health is such an important field and platform that everyone needs to talk about. And I think you doing this is unbelievable. And it's going to give, thankfully, I'm very vocal in life. I can talk about anything, right? But people aren't. So your podcast can let people know they're not alone, and they can come on and talk about their lives and their struggles. And I think it's a fucking amazing thing you're doing, and I cannot wait to see how it goes, man. Let's do this. I'm super excited. Let's have some fun today.
So a little more background. I decided who I wanted to have on next. I think starting with Madeline was very important, giving a perspective of a professional. And then I thought about people who wanted to come on who weren't as vocal. And if you start with someone who's a little more reserved, I think it doesn't allow you to open up as much as someone like Tom, who's very vocal. And I think a lot of people can learn from him because he's a normal guy. He's not an athlete at school where there's a lot of stigma going on.
I'm an athlete. Hold on. I'm an athlete.
But in terms of like Drexel athletes where we all know each other pretty well, this is someone who only I and the few people back home know. And I think he gives a perspective of someone who has gone through it and is now doing extremely well. So, first and foremost, talking about mental health, what do you think is being done about mental health? And how do you think it needs to either carry on and continue from there, or do you think it's good where it is?
I think mental health is an incredible topic, like one of the most important topics in life. This is the most important part of your body, it's your mind. And like once again, Survive Your Mind is an amazing title for this podcast. When we were talking about it, I was like, that's awesome. It's right to the point, and you need that because you need to survive your mind. Because I think through my struggles, I've learned that your mind can be your worst enemy. You know what I mean? I remember when I was doing So Shitty, I'd bump the song like my what is it, Worst Enemy, whatever that song, and I was like, oh, that's about my head right now. You know what I mean? And I think it's getting a lot better. I think obviously September is like Mental Health Awareness Month, and people are really vocal about it. Mm-hmm. But that's just 1 month a year. I think we need to do all 12 months. Same thing with like breast cancer in the NFL. Yeah. When October is like really big about breast cancer, why not November, December, etc. So I think mental health, the stigma. I think people are talking a lot more about it, but we need more. I mean, someone just killed themselves right now. Someone just killed, and again, you know what I mean? It's awful. The suicide rates are awful. It's an epidemic in this country, And personally, I just think life is a beautiful thing. We get one opportunity in it. We get to cherish it and just have a great experience. You know what I mean? And it's just I think as a society we're doing a good job, but there's always room for growth. Mm-hmm. So let's keep going. Let's keep going. I think this podcast, it's a great start, brother. Let's do this.
Right. And so I know you watched the episode with Madeline, and she talked a lot about some practices that she does, like we talked about grounding. But she also gave a really good insight. And so just from your perspective, did you do anything like practices, either it was like breathing or is it things like that, so people can at least get on the right start to figuring out and like kind of being in tune with their body?
Definitely, yeah, man. So I mean, I've had anxiety since I was a kid, and like I remember there was a program I grew up in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. It's called Second Step, and you went over coping mechanisms to how to deal with anxiety. And breathing was one of the biggest things. Mm-hmm. And breathing's cool, but it works for some people. For me, like when I get super anxious, my chest feels like I'm having a heart attack. And the breathing helps, but not so much. So with me, I just got to surround myself with good people and good habits to feel well. So I'll just meet up with the boys, watch a game, I'll hit the gym, I'll go to the stage and let them crack some jokes. So when I'm doing shitty, I kind of just find those coping mechanisms that make me feel good. So that's just kind of by doing stand-up or lifting or just surrounding myself with people, Staying productive is pretty much my biggest habit when I'm feeling like shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have found that too. And we hear working out a lot, and we hear, also isolating yourself and things like that. And I think it's important to know that it's not one thing for everyone, and everything that he said could not work for you at all, right?
Sure, definitely.
And it's all about finding your coping mechanism, and it's going to take time, right? I'm sure.
Oh, dude, for sure, man. Yeah. I'm still learning every day. I'm 23 years old. You know what I mean? I still have, I feel really well today, but I still relapse, right? Where I still feel like shit, and I'll try something that won't work. So life you always learn in life. Every day is an opportunity to learn and grow, correct? So it's like you can always find a new mechanism. You know what I mean? So that's how I feel. So sometimes like these strategies won't work. I'll try something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely just find what helps you survive your mind. Long story short, you know.
So when I first pitched this idea to Tom, it was
late night too. It was late night.
So I talked about how at like 4 a.m. I was like getting out of bed. I was like, let's film this thing. You know what I mean? Let's do it. And so 99% of the reason why I chose that time was because Tom and I had just finished talking about it. And I think, I believe that everything happens for a reason. And the reason Tom and I were talking that night was to, get this thing going. And so he not only expressed to me how important he thinks it is, but he also expressed to me the many reasons and the many ways how he's dealt with mental health. And so
big time.
Now, this is where the start of Survive Your Mind is, here.
Yep.
Because you gave me all that information about yourself. So
love you, buddy. I'm proud of you.
I love you too, man. Thank you. So now let's get into you. Because
cool, man. Let's do it.
You love to talk about this. You're a very vocal person, like you said. You are someone who can kickstart this thing because of how open and dedicated you are to fixing this. So, from where you started, as you said, we talked about anxiety and how it builds. Let's kind of start at the beginning of where you were, and let's build up to all the factors that led to where you would say is your bottom.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. So, I mean, I've had anxiety my entire life. I probably didn't define it as anxiety until I was like 16, 17. Mm-hmm. But as a kid, man, my dad and I were super close. And I remember when I was living up in Pawtucket, he dropped me off at school, and I would have like a panic attack because I loved my dad so much, and I had like separation anxiety. And like I remember him and I had this fucking handshake. I can still do it. You know what I mean? And he was like, "You'll be okay. I'll see you at 2:15 when you're out of school." And it was really cool, and that like helped me go through. So that's when my anxiety really started, And like I have growing up, my biggest anxiety was change. Even like a new school year, even at KP, like freshman, sophomore, senior, even junior year, whatever, I'd feel like shit those first couple of days because sometimes I struggle with routine change, right? So that was my biggest anxiety, And I think I'm jumping around, but I think when my parents got divorced when I was 15, like I said, half the parents in the world do that, That was my first ever panic attack. I remember my brother John and I were in our house in Norfolk, and I remember dropping to the ground, and I thought I was having a heart attack, and it was unbelievable. Like I literally thought I was dying, and I was pretty fat back then too. So I was like, oh, maybe I'm actually having a heart attack. Who knows,
Yeah.
But anyway, so that happened for a little bit too, and then I got better with it. I got better. Life was good. I started going to Bridgewater State. Started dating a girl. Things were awesome, And then around like I was almost 22. And that's when shit just got so bad. I always had anxiety, and but I could deal with it. I could deal with my chest running.
Right.
I could deal with having to take a shit before class. Like, to be honest, like going to Bridgewater, I would take a shit at the Dunkin' Donuts on 24 every day going to class because my anxiety was so bad about school. It wasn't my head; it was my body. Right. So I kind of had more body anxiety. If that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. But when I turned almost 22, that's when my head started to get fucked up, man. And I remember just like my thoughts would get so intrusive and not reflective of me. Mm-hmm. And I've learned that I have OCD and anxiety. I was actually diagnosed bipolar as well. Mm-hmm. And probably, who knows, I'm a narcissist, that's kind of half the battle, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, when my head got bad, that's when I got scared. And my thoughts got super intrusive. And intrusive thoughts, if you don't know, guys, are thoughts that don't define you, but they circle around in your head. And between that, those thoughts and being OCD, they latched on. Because everyone has a thought that goes through their head, you know what I mean? It's like a shitty thought, then it's gone.
Yeah.
But when you have OCD, that shit stays with you, unfortunately, And I'm a guy, I hate to say it, I'm a guy who I have a lot of friends. At the time, I had a great girlfriend, a good platform, a good job, a full ride to college. Life was great, man. And I was doing so fucking shitty, and I had no idea why. Mm-hmm. I didn't sleep for 9 months straight, Paul. 9 months straight. Didn't sleep. It was unbelievable. And this is when it got really bad. And I don't even mind talking about it because this is my rock bottom. My thoughts get so intrusive, like my head was telling me to kill myself. And I was like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, I love life. Life's great. Mm-hmm. Like I said to you earlier this podcast, man, like I cherish life. I have so much fun. Life's an amazing thing. And the fact that my mind was trying to turn me against myself was unbelievable. And I didn't know what to do, And it was like, I compare it to like a tennis game. I was like playing tennis, right, buddy? Where it's like, intrusive thought, Tom. And we're going back and forth, fucking Serena Williams, this motherfucker. You know what I mean? Going back and forth. Yeah. And it was just so bad, bro. And like, I just couldn't figure out. I was trying the breathing. I was reading. I remember like, Kayla bought me these books, and my mom was being great too. And like all my friends, because like I'm very vocal. So I'd be like, to my example, my friend Greg Casey, I was like, dude, like my head's like telling me to kill myself. And he's like, bro, what the fuck? I'm like, dude, I love life. Like, don't worry. Like, I'm gonna be okay. Yeah. Like I knew I wasn't gonna kill myself because I love myself so much, and I love life, dude. I'm so happy to be here today, And that's when I was like, I need to get help because what I was doing my best, but sometimes you need to outsource, right? Outsourcing. I'm a business guy, and you learn a lot in business about outsourcing to other companies and stuff like that. So I started going to therapy. And therapy was cool, but it was the same thing. They were telling me the same shit. And I appreciate that. I think therapy's great. I still go like once a month. It's great. But that's when I learned I had a chemical imbalance. I was diagnosed as bipolar on September 4th, 2019. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, I met with a psychiatrist for an hour, 2 hours, and it was amazing. She was a fucking, her name's Cheryl Goodall. She's out of Brockton. She's an amazing woman and just so intelligent. She had a notepad, and I was describing my life, and she just like was just writing and writing and writing, and she's like, yeah, I think you're bipolar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, you know? So anyway, I got prescribed medication. I take lithium carbonate every night, guys. Medication is not bad for you, no matter what people say. You know, it's trial and error. Thankfully, my first experience was the one I needed, right?
Yeah.
So I started taking that, and it takes a while to adjust. I'm a big guy, you know, I'm a big fella. So sometimes, like, dosages aren't enough for your size. So I started taking these pills, right? And they weren't working. My head was still fucked up. My relationship's going downhill. I was gambling. Things just weren't going well for me. But I was going to keep fighting, you know? And I'm super proud of myself because that entire year, pretty much between 21, I'm 23 now, and I feel great. I feel like a fucking $1 million again, thanks to I think good habits, good people, and medication. But those times, I'm just proud of myself. I still went to school every day. You know, I put a mask on, man. I still went to school pre-corona, right?
Right.
But so anyway, I put a mask on. I went to school every day. You know, I went to fucking work. You know, I still was the best boyfriend I could be, best friend I could be, man. And just my head, I'd be at a party with all my friends having a great time. In my head, like, you should go kill yourself in front of the train tonight.
Right.
And like the entire time, bro, I'm like freaking out with myself, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck, man? Like and that's when I finally got help, because that's a scary thing to talk about.
Of course,
because people are gonna think you're crazy, man. And that's the biggest thing I hate about mental health, when you express how you're doing. If it's a bad way. Oh, this guy's fucking nuts. And that's why I think, for me, I hate to say it this way, but like, I think I'm a pretty normal guy. So that's why I love talking about mental health, or it's like, it could happen to anybody, no matter what demographic, background, any lifestyle, anything you come from. It's a chemical imbalance, right? So by that I mean, like, it can really affect anybody.
Right.
Anybody, man. You see like these superstar athletes kill themselves, these celebrities. It's unbelievable. The 27 Club's a thing for a reason, man. Like, people struggle no matter what, and that is from chemical imbalances, and that's kind of what I learned. I said a lot. If that answered your question.
No, it did, and I think you brought up a lot of great points. So first I want to address, like, the image of you at a party. I know we've all been there in a group full of, you know, people you love, especially with us back home. Like, this grew to family, especially you and I. You know, with parents' divorce and things like that. We grew up in a place of the home wasn't a certain thing, maybe, you know, with change and things like that. Yeah. And so when we all kind of found each other. You know, at first it was like goofing around, like filming videos, and then it became more of like all right, who actually is this guy? And I think we found our close clique there. And I mean, we talked constantly. I mean, obviously going down to school changes things when we're in two different places.
Yeah, dude, definitely. We've maintained a good amount of communication over the past 4 years for sure, dude.
So, with that, you know, and I think it's not cliche, but everyone kind of talks about it's like you never really know what's happening in someone's head. Right?
Never.
And so I know for Greg, you know, I've known Greg for a while now too.
Yeah.
You know, you can imagine being in his situation where he was probably going through something, but not at the level you were. And so for people outside of that to try to comprehend what's happening,
it's a lot. It's
so much to try to, you know, sort through your head. And then instantly we go to like, okay, like something's wrong. Like, you know, we got to do something, got to fix something. When in reality, you know, you just telling him, I mean, probably like for a second was probably sort of a sense of relief.
Oh, dude, 100%.
Right?
100%. Like I said, for me personally, communicating is the best thing I can do personally to feel better. That's why I'm so vocal on Twitter and all social media. That's what I do, man. I talk a lot about myself and probably too much about like silly shit, but like, but you know what I mean? Like, it makes me feel better, long story short, especially mental health wise. And not to backtrack, but I remember, I don't know if you remember, but last October, I did the Walk for Suicide Awareness in Boston, right? And Harry Fallon, who you played lacrosse with, I was bartending at Eaglebrook, and he was up there with my friend Brady, and he was telling me about this walk. And at that time, Paul, you know, nobody knew I was doing bad besides me, like Kayla, my close friends and family. So it's like, I was like, oh my God, this is my opportunity to like, and to be honest with you, man, I was trying to do shit to make my head get out of the funk too. Like, because the medicine wasn't kicking. I'm like, oh, if I do this walk, my head's gonna be like, oh, you won't kill yourself now. Unfortunately, that really didn't help out. But anyway, I still went there. I raised awareness. We raised over $1,000 in 2 weeks. It was unbelievable.
Insane.
And like, I remember like shooting that video, watching it, and just fucking crying my eyes out because of like how proud I was of myself, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because I was still struggling, and I used my struggles as a platform to like raise awareness for not only other people but myself as well, that shit's gonna be okay. Yeah. You know, and it was a great time. Unfortunately, we were gonna do it again this year, and I can't thank everyone enough who donated. A ton of people donated. Like, I remember, like, unfortunately, it was a random Saturday in October, so we only had a few people walk. It was like me, Kayla, RJ, Chris, Matt Hart. I'm just glad he was there, thank God. But anyway, but no, I mean, the comments were unbelievable. People I barely knew from high school were like, hey, man, like, you're so strong. Like, thank you. Amazing. And to me personally, I fucking felt like $1 million. You know what I mean?
Of course.
It was awesome. And I was really just proud to use my struggles like I said, as a platform to raise awareness. And I had a big post on Twitter on the anniversary of my diagnosis, I think, back in September, where it's like, hey, like, I literally didn't know if I was gonna be alive today, Paul. This time last year, man, I'd be like, God, who knows? You know, I remember my head would struggle to grasp long-term plans. I remember I went to two. Big Steelers fan.
Yep.
I go to 2 Steelers games a year. I go with one with Kayla and the one with like Jared, my cousin Brandon, like
Yep.
the boys,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So those were like in November and October, and back in like September or April, we talk about it. I meant August, but anyway, my head would be like, oh, if you're alive, you'll be there. But what the fuck, dude? You know what I mean? And like I said, it comes back to that tennis game where you're so frustrated between your intrusive thinking and yourself. But I'm just proud I got help, and I'm here today, man, for sure. And I feel unbelievable. I really do. But I want to emphasize to the crowd, if you're struggling right now, you're gonna get through this. I fucking swear to God. I'll look you dead in the camera. Hopefully, that's a 4K camera. It's probably I probably look terrible, but you're gonna be okay. And I swear to God, honestly, you know. But you need to know that you're gonna still struggle sometimes. You don't wake up one day and it's gone. You know, unfortunately, your brain develops trauma, and you're gonna think about those old. I call it PT. Like I have PTSD. Sometimes I'll have reminiscence of like, oh, suicide. But then I'm like, nah, you're the man, dude. You'll be fine. You know what I mean? But I just want to emphasize that you're gonna be okay. But just know it's gonna be an uphill battle for the rest of your life. And I say that in the nicest way possible. I'm just being honest. And if you're out there struggling, you fucking got this. I swear to God. I promise. I promise.
It's an amazing message. So I just talked with someone from Drexel, you know, this athletic department's doing a podcast, things like that. And I talked with this guy, Chris Markowitz, who graduated, and we were through this interview. And one of the last things I said when we were kind of in closing was that, first of all, like you said, like life is so important, cherish it.
So,
and that it's not gonna, like you said, like get better like this. But I will say, after I posted my first podcast about myself, it wasn't the next morning, but the next few days I woke up and it was like, holy breath of fresh air.
yeah, dude, yep.
And I think for you now saying it on a platform like this, maybe it's not tomorrow, maybe it's not the next day, but, you know, hopefully you have that sense of like, I just told everyone, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I'd love that,
to be honest. I think it's like a conquering thing, right? Like,
big time, dude.
How internal it was for you, and now that everyone knows, and they're like, holy shit, look at him now, right?
I know, dude.
Look, like, can you, like you said,
I know, right, dude.
Imagine talking about this a year ago?
You know, but you know what's funny, Paul? I did though, and I would.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I'm not trying to like
I'm more
answer the question.
In general,
no, in general, no, for sure.
Yeah.
That's why I'm super proud. I'm super proud, like that I was able to do that.
Right.
But for someone out there who's struggling, and if they come on and talk to you, like I said, that time last year I was talking about it, but now I feel great. So I guess you are right in the same aspect, where it's like you're gonna have someone on maybe next week who's struggling, and they're gonna feel great in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's a slow grind. It's what Isaiah Thomas used to say, right? The slow grind or whatever. It's I mean, it's a grind, but you're gonna make it. Long story short, for sure. You know. Yeah. But I'm just, like I said, I'm just so proud to be here, dude.
Yeah,
of course, 100%.
Of course, everyone around you is proud of you too, because that internal struggle to go through alone, is something that a lot of us can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Right.
It's tough, man. But then again, there's the phrase "you're never alone." That's true. You know, I just knew I had a great. I cannot thank my friends and family and guys like you and Jake and everyone else around me, that were just there. No matter what, even I'm doing shit now, I can be like, "Hey, Paul, like, can we talk for a sec?" I'm just like, I'm blessed that I have that opportunity. If you're out there struggling, if you feel like shit, my number's 508-496-2143. Shoot me a call, text, FaceTime. I'll try not to look bad on FaceTime, and let's just talk, because I'm always there for anybody. It's funny, when I had that big tweet with the paragraph and my notes the other day talking about mental health, and I had people, dude, who texted me because I put my number out. I don't give a shit, man. I'll put my number anywhere,
course,
you know? Just be like, hey, man, thank you. Didn't even know the words. Thank you. Like, anytime. Text me whenever. You know, it's just like, I just feel so proud, and you should probably feel proud of yourself as well. Just like, what we're doing, man, is so damn powerful, and just, it's I love you, man. It's incredible, dude. It's incredible, because I'm sure there's someone out there watching this who feels super sheltered and alone, and hopefully this will give them the courage to get either help or come on and just talk. And like I think we both learned through your first episode, through what I've been doing, that talking makes everything better. Yeah. It really does.
Yeah, and I put out something today, you know, or last night, where I was, you know, if you want to come on and talk, let's do it. If you just want to talk in the form that we're doing now and never film it and save it and not post it, you know, I think just addressing it to someone, even if it's like a subconscious thing, like a camera's in front of you and you're like, okay, people are going to hear this. Like, I think that's a powerful internal, like, conquering of what's going on inside of you. So
100%.
Like, we'll say that too, you know, talking about it. So we just talked a lot about, you know, Tom and his struggles, and we keep alluding to the fact of where he is now and how happy we are about him now. Let's dive into your life now and how you're doing, because I want everyone to see
Cool.
progress. 'Cause
Let's do it, man.
You're the image.
Thank you, man. No, things are great. I mean, honestly, like I said, but I wouldn't be here without those past steps. You know what I mean? I think every moment I've been through, between my parents' divorce, becoming like the patriarch in my family, support myself through college, everything is built up to this moment. I feel great, man. I'm gonna be the first person in my entire family to graduate college in 4 weeks. It's a good feeling, man. I feel good mentally. I doing the stand-up comedy, which is, people love it, man. It makes me feel good to make people laugh. You know what I mean? I'm sure I seem pretty annoying. I talk about some pretty vulgar shit, but I think people are enjoying it and loving it. And I just feel great, man. I take so much pride in making people laugh and feel good. And I think by making people feel good, I feel good.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty naturally just like outgoing and happy and silly anyway. So if I can impact it on someone, that makes my day. Even if it's one person, Right. But I think social media gives the platform to do that to many people, which is awesome. You know what I mean? Like, I have people I don't even know hitting me up like, hey, man, keep it up. That keeps me going, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, to answer your question, just I feel great, man, between finishing school pretty soon, the content. Could probably use a job. I'm running out of money. But besides that, man, no, I feel really good. And sky's the limit, man. What we're doing with the platform is an amazing thing. And we've got a big future coming up. And I'm super excited.
Yeah. All right. So any last remarks for people listening that if they can take one thing away from the conversation you and I just had?
Hang in there.
Yeah.
Hang in there. Hang in there. Help is always there. Like I said, reach out to me, Paul, a therapist, psychiatrist, friends, family, medicine, whatever it takes, man. Hang in there, because life is such a beautiful thing, and we just get one opportunity. I don't want to quote "Lose Yourself" in Eminem, but anyway, it's a beautiful thing, and I'm very thankful and grateful to be here still, because it didn't look like it a long time ago, and I just kept fighting, and now I feel amazing again. So to sum it up, Paul, just keep fighting and survive your mind. I love you guys.
All right, some beautiful words.
Come here, you sexy.